everybody, Midwest Picker here, recording on my phone, which I hate to do. I am going to an auction house. I won an auction last night, one item, and I'm going to drive 18 miles round trip for one item. Why am I doing that? In the rain, on my lunch break. This is crazy. Well, I get to listen to some tunes. But what is it that I won for like, I don't know, 12 bucks? That I'm willing to drive on my lunch break in the rain 18 miles round trip. What could it be? Well, stick around and you will find out. Don't go away. Stoner house. All right, I'm here to pick up the goods. Hey everybody, Midwest Picker here. My name is Dave. I'm a part-time reseller, full-time father, husband, RN, working from home. This is my CPA, Joey. He wanted to be in this video. Not sure why. Up in the corner is Enoch. And this video is about reselling. So this is a sourcing video. I am back from going to that auction house in the rain, and we're going to talk about what I bought. I bought one single item, and I'm really excited about it. Then I'm going to talk about the general subject of model kits and sourcing and selling them so you can make money. Show me the money! So this is what I bought. It's kind of a mouthful. This is a Tester's model kit from 1985. It is a YF-12A Interceptor jet aircraft, still sealed, brand new in the box. And I'll put some pictures up because sometimes this doesn't show up too well. I paid a whole $13 for this, so I'm super pumped. So here's an example of a sold model similar to this one. It's the same scale, but it's a different brand, but it's the same plane, and it's sealed in the package, a little bit older than mine. There are none on eBay for sale or sold in the last 90 days. That is Tester's brand. So that could be good or that could be bad. It could be good because it's very rare and in high demand, or it could be bad that it sucks so bad nobody wants it. So I'm going to list this one as an auction. I don't do auctions very often, but high demand items like model kits, especially vintage sealed brand new ones, do very well. So I'm going to start it out at $79.95 plus priority mail shipping on top and just let it go. So model kits are a great item to source. Back in the 70s and 80s, at the height of their popularity, people loved building model kits, either kids, teenagers, adults. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and that was one of my hobbies. I'm not an expert in models, but I built a lot of them, mostly cars, some World War II fighter planes. My dad used to build ships, giant wooden ships with cloth sails and kind of twine for the rope. I mean, he would spend hours building these things, and they turned out just beautiful. Now, where do you source these things? Well, pretty much anywhere. You would be amazed that people would buy model kits in the 50s all the way up into the 90s, and they would stick them on a shelf somewhere and they would never build them. And then they end up in garage sales, flea markets, estate sales, or online auctions like the one I sourced from HiBid. There's also YouTube auctions and whatnot auctions, all kinds of places to source these items from. Now, I know what you're saying, Dave. I'm not real familiar with models. I have never built one. I've never owned one. I didn't grow up in the 70s, whatever. That's okay. I'm not familiar with cosmetics. But in the last week, I've sold $183. Joey's jealous. $183 worth of cosmetics in the last 8 or 9 days. I know nothing about cosmetics. So how did I do it? Well, you network with other people who do know about cosmetics. I networked with Mrs. Midwest. She taught me what I needed to know. I don't know the difference between eyeliner and mascara or lip gloss or lipstick. I don't know. But you know what? I don't have to know because I can research it. I can look it up. And especially if an item is brand new, still in the package, you usually have an MRN, an item number, serial number, something like that help you research it and Google it and look it up. Not just eBay solds, but you can look all over the place like WorthPoint or Etsy, or just Google and look these items up. So in this part of the video, I'm going to teach you all about model kits, what to look for, how to source them, and how to sell them. Now, I'm not an expert in model kits, but I have a lot of experience owning them and building them, and I'm going to teach you what I know so you can find them, flip them, and make some good money. So a little bit about the history. Models or model kits are made out of mostly plastic, but they're also available in wood and metal, and a combination of wood and metal or metal and plastic. They can be domestically made in the US or they can be foreign made. A lot of foreign companies make model kits. There are model kits of monsters, houses, boats and ships, cars and airplanes, and people, and much, much more. Just a whole variety of stuff. And I'm going to show you some solds that'll blow your mind and they're pretty weird. But the majority of model kits are plastic, and that's fine. Normally, like plastic tools or plastic bicycle, that's usually not in high demand, but it's kind of the opposite in the model world. Pretty much all of them are plastic, but if you go back far enough, or certain kinds like airplanes made out of balsa wood, you will find model kits that are made out of other materials. Some brands to look for: Testers, Revell, Monogram, Aurora, and this really weird one, Hasegawa. I don't know how to say that. I'm totally butchering it. I'm going to put images up here and you can figure it out for yourself. But there are many brands of model kits. There's probably 30, 40, 50 different brands, but the ones I just mentioned are the most popular. So what do you look for? Well, you look for vintage model kits that are still new, sealed, unopened, unused, often referred to as NOS or new old stock. Those are the best, sealed in the plastic still from probably about the 1990s and earlier. And of course, older usually does mean better when it comes to model kits. But don't worry if it's open. It can still be new open box, and I'm going to show examples of that. So if you see a model kit for sale, say a garage sale or flea market, take the lid off and look inside. Sometimes those pieces and plastic parts will be in sealed clear plastic bags. So if that's true, you can still sell it as new, just open box. If it is open box, make sure everything is there the best you can. There should be an instruction manual. There's usually like water-based decals. Obviously the plastic pieces and parts, but they should still be attached to the frame where it was injection molded. It should all be there. If it's a car, there should be wheels and tires. If these pieces and parts are loose and bouncing around in the box, that's kind of a red flag. There might be some missing. Ideally, they would be all attached to the little plastic frame, not punched out yet. Look for stuff like that. And if you can, if you have the instruction manual, flip through it and kind of peruse it and see what parts come with the kit and see if they're all there. Of course, with online auctions, that's very difficult to do. So now that you know the how, next you need to know the what. So like I said, vintage, older the better, sealed, brand new, great, open box new, even better, or fine, not a big deal. Even if there's missing pieces, you can still source it super cheap and then sell those pieces as replacement parts. And that's going to take much longer to sell. It's much more nichey. If you got a model of a dragster or a ship, but only half the pieces are there, there might be somebody out there that needs replacement parts. But personally, even if it's a vintage model, if the kit is only half there, unless I can get it super cheap, I'm going to take a pass on that. Next, I'm going to show you some really hot, very valuable model kits that you can find out in the wild. And by the way, when I did a search on eBay for solds, 160,000 model kits have sold in the last 90 days. That is crazy good. First one up on solds is this Ferrari model kit. Holy cow, Joey, $4,000. This is a sold. This is not a joke. This is not money laundering. This is a very valuable model kit, still sealed brand new in the package, I believe, sold for $4,000. This is by the model company Centuria. I believe that's how you say it. Next is this model rocket kit. Now these are also made with wood and plastic and all different materials. This is a model rocket kit. It's a little bit different than all the others because this is intended to be launched. You buy these little rocket motors. It's kind of like a bottle rocket almost. They come in all different sizes. You hook it up to a launch pad and a little controller box and you hit a button and it flies up in the air, and then once it reaches maximum maximum altitude. A little parachute pops out of the top and it floats down and you can reuse it. This one you'd probably, Joey would because he's a moron, but this one you'd probably not want to launch into the air. This one sold for $2,955. You saw that correct. $2,955. This is not something you want to risk launching up into the sky and losing it. It could land in some farmer's field, some dog could eat it, whatever. This is something that you would want to put on the shelf and display as part of a collection. This particular one, they took a best offer, but I'm pretty sure it was very close to the $2,955, probably around $2,700. I didn't look it up, so I'm not sure, but it's extremely valuable. This company is ITC. Next one is a model car kit for a Bugatti. Have you ever driven a Bugatti? No, Joey doesn't have legs, so he doesn't drive anything. But this one sold for $2,690. Wow, that is crazy money. This is by a company called Poacher, I think. I'm probably butchering that name, but this was an open box item. It was still considered new. All the pieces and parts were there, and it still sold for huge money. That's what I would call a high-end kit. It had plastic, it had metal, it had all kinds of pieces and parts. Probably not a kit that would be built by a little kid. This next one's one of my favorites. This is by Aurora, super popular company back in the 60s called The Frog. Sold for $2,025. Dang, $2,000, Joey, for a frog. This was sold in 1965. This is another new open box model kit. Next one's another 1965 Aurora model kit, the Addams Family House. This one was still sealed in the plastic. It sold for $1,675. Wow. Could you imagine seeing this at a garage sale or a flea market with a price tag of like $3 or even $50? That's the thing. People get scared if they see this model kit at a flea market for $100 or $75. You might get turned off and say, no, I don't know anything about that. And you won't buy it because that's a big risk. That's a lot of money. But now you know, and I bet you will buy it. Talk about weird. I like weird. Can you tell? But talk about weird. Here's a model kit by Revell of a nuclear power plant. This is not something that probably sold very well. I don't know too many little kids. Like when I was a little kid, I liked funny cars and sports cars. And jet fighters and stuff like that. A nuclear power plant. What kind of kid would want to build that? This is from 1959. This is really old. This is new open boxed item. Sold for $1,486. Wow. If I saw this at a garage sale or a flea market or even an online auction, well, that I could look up because there's time. But if you're on the fly, you're out in the wild, you're buzzing around, estate sale, sometimes you don't have time to look stuff up. And if I looked at a nuclear power plant model kit that was open, I'd just keep on walking. Well, now that I've done some research, I would snatch that baby up quick. Now be honest, put down in the comments if you saw a nuclear power plant model kit just sitting at a garage sale or a flea market. Would you walk right past it? Do you think, oh, look at that, a nuclear power plant kit. I bet that's worth $1,400. This next one I had as a kid. This is a visible V8 engine for a car. Also, this one has a chassis. I put it on the big screen here. This was really, really cool. You built a car engine. It was all clear, mostly clear, and it had a little starter. You hook it up to a battery. You could watch the pistons go up and down. The spark plugs would fire, the valves, the push rods, everything. It was sweet. This one sold for $1,054, and it was missing a few pieces. I think it said in the description it was missing the starter motor and the battery pack, some other things. You could get those replaced, I guess, but this still sold for $1,000. Here's a model kit for a wooden ship. This is newer. This is made in China, and it still sold for $1,000. This next one's really cool. 1958 Apache Warrior. This is a model kit by Aurora, and it sold for $840. So that's the video, guys. I hope it gives you the tools you need to source model kits. If I can source and sell cosmetics, you can source and sell model kits. So go out there and look for them. Online auctions are a bit tricky because you're competing with other people, collectors and resellers, so you're gonna pay up. But if you go to garage sales, estate sales, flea markets, church rummage sales, you can find these model kits, sealed or not sealed, and they can be pretty vintagey, 1980s, 1970s. If you can get them cheap, you can flip them for really good money. So give the video a thumbs up, guys. I'm glad you were here. I hope this is helpful. Joey says, see you next time.